In a chill living room, leather-bound chairs, aroma of cigars hangs thick in the air. I'm cigar making, the host with flair. Welcoming my guest, a legendary face with stories to spare.
A puff a minute, bringing tales untold. In the smoky haze, connections unfold. With a puff of smoke, a bond is made. No time to waste. Let the memory.
Family, what's happening, y'all? How's everybody doing today, man? It's outstanding Saturday here.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean? One more time, it's your family right here. It's the fellas from A Puff a Minute bringing you another Cigars and Conversation. Once again, I'm your man, Cigar Mick.
It's the banker.
The banker's in the building, y'all. And we're here again. Like I said, it's Saturday. You know what I'm saying? It's time for another Cigars and Conversation. We're going to kick this thing off with you right now, man. But in case you didn't know, like we say every week, man, we just bring you guys, man, like some real challenging conversation. You know what I'm saying? This space that we occupy, y'all, it's not meant to always be just like comfortable. It's not always meant to just be like ha ha, kiki and all of that type of stuff. What we want to do is we want to challenge y'all sometimes, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And we know, like last week we got into some stuff, man, that, you know, maybe everybody can get into, maybe everybody can't get into. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, it's a challenging conversation.
Yeah.
You feel me on that? You know what I'm saying? And we all adults here, you know what I'm saying? We all love this tobacco thing that we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we feel like we should be able to have those conversations. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But as always, we like to start with what we're smoking. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So I see what you're working with over there,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I like you. I like what's going on right there, bro. Tell them what you got, bro.
I've smoked this on the show before, but definitely this is one of my favorites. It's one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
I got a certain, and I'll say this, man, I'm not ashamed of having a price point, right?
Yeah.
So when I go into the shop and I go to a retailer or I go online or whatever and buy smokes, I have a price point.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, what can I find that's a good smoke in a certain price point? I ain't got to break the bank to get my humidor filled up right with smokes.
Yeah.
So CAO, man, makes a beautiful product. I know you know the owners of the company very well. I've got a chance to hobnob with them and chill out, but definitely CAO makes a beautiful product. And this Brasilia has been one of my favorites for years. And it's just consistent. It just depends on the size that you want. Now they actually make what do you call it? Now I'm losing the term. The skinny one, the real tight roll.
Lancero?
Yep, they make a Lancero in the CAO.
Okay.
But yeah, but definitely this is more of the larger scale, right?
Right.
But the taste, the flavor, the smoke, all consistent. The quality of the smoke. This is a Nicaraguan Dominican blend. But even with the blend, right, it comes together very well.
Yeah.
And it's one of those smokes where they try to mimic what the Cuban flavor would be if you got an authentic, real Cuban cigar.
Yeah.
That's what this was embodied out of. But I really enjoy this smoke, so I keep picking it up, bro. I keep picking it up. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to CAO, General Cigars, man. You know what I'm saying? Doing their thing, bro. That's what's up, man. That's a great stick right there, man.
Yeah.
So speaking of price points, because again, this is not a mad expensive cigar either, but it's also it's among that blend, man, that you and I talk about so often. You know, it's a go-to blend for me. You know what I'm saying? This is a Coronetto. This is by Crown Heads, right?
Okay.
So it's a Crown Head cigar. It's the Coronetto. This is a Habano, you know, a Robusto Habano. And, you know, the reason why I like this cigar, man, is, again, it's that blend, right? So it's got that Ecuadorian Habano wrapper on it, but then it's got the Nicaraguan binder and filler. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of just like my wheelhouse these days. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like where I like that blend, man, with the Ecuadorian, you know, wrapper, you know what I'm saying, the Nicaraguan binder and wrapper and stuff like that. You could throw a Mexican Andreas in there somewhere. Give me a little spiciness.
You asking
as
a lot
well.
now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Asking for a lot, but you know that's kind of like where I like to kind of like hang out at. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, this is a real cool stick, man. It's about medium bodied. You know what I'm saying? Robusto is about the right size for me at this time of the day.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I might come in here and we get started with something, you know, and then I end up spending a whole lot more time, you know, than I need to, right? And I end up not getting some things done later on in the day that I need to get done. So this is about the right size for what we're doing today.
Okay.
To get in here and get out of here, bro, and keep
We need
things
toilet
moving.
paper in the house, bro. So
Yo, I want to get into this. That's a great.
I got a bunch of girls in the house. We can't go without toilet.
So that's funny that you should start with that, bro. So let's talk about that, man, because you know what I'm saying. That's a great entry point for today's discussion. You know what I'm saying. So on the East Coast, you know, and also Houston and what have you, we had the Longshoremen on October 1st, a midnight on October 1st. all of those cats went on strike.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't think a lot of people really understood, you know what I'm saying, the purpose of that strike.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they went on strike because of AI. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to automate everything on the docks and stuff like that, you know. And if you like if you look at other countries like China, you know what I'm saying, all of the dock work and all of that stuff is 100% automated.
Correct.
You know, and I think that this is something that needs to be looked at because it's going to affect a whole lot more careers, right, and a whole lot more industries other than just the longshoremen and supply chain type stuff. But that was huge, bro, because I mean, you know, that happened on the first, you know, and by the second, people was losing their mind, bro. Like I pulled up on Costco's and couldn't get to the parking lot, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I don't know if we talked about this in the show, but I know we talked about it. You and I just having a conversation, but AI is becoming normalized, right?
Yeah.
Before it was a scary thing. Before it was like, oh, AI going to take over the world, take over the computers. We remember 2000 and all that, and they thought the computers going to go back to .0 and all that. But anyway, everybody thought AI was just going to take over the world, right? And it was going to be it wasn't going to be a normal thing for people to integrate, right? But then people got comfortable with playing with ChatGPT. Then you started seeing AI just playing into the world. Like I work for a company right now that's integrating AI into our internal system. We're building our own AI. But as a $1 trillion company, we can kind of do that. But everybody doesn't have that level of control. But when you start talking about the longshoremen, right? You talking about shutting down the ports, but they talking about it's going to be billions of dollars a week. Billions of dollars a week in lost revenue if they shut down the ports, right? And they're saying, okay, it's still automated, but at the same time, there's a people aspect to it. And I think there's a people aspect to every industry, every business. No matter how much you try to automate it, AI my ass, I'm like, AI can only do so much, and AI is only as good as the people that back it. So there's still some people interaction with some of these systems, right? And I think people are forgetting that. But the longshoremen figured it out. And everybody think they dumb and they uneducated and blah, blah. They figured it out. It's like, at the end of the day, there still has to be a people aspect to this industry. And if you say you're going to cut us out, you're going to start cutting jobs, you're going to start cutting pay, cutting benefits, because they used to get bomb-ass benefits, bro. Bomb benefits. You talking Jersey, you talking about Houston, you talking about some
Maryland,
of these
all down,
some of these huge port cities,
Galveston,
bro.
Exactly.
I'm like, they gonna be in trouble, bro. In trouble. I'm like, you start tearing up their economies like that. We saw it happen with the post office, right? And then the trucking industry went through the same thing. And they was like, you know, we got to pay these truckers a more livable wage. And they ain't asking for money. They said, just don't take nothing else from us.
But think about the ripple effects on that. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you know, over the years, right? It's like, you know, we have been, as a people, man, and I'm just talking about all people in the United States, right? We have been hoodwinked into like moving away from rural areas, right? Don't live in the country no more. Everybody moved to the city, right? Don't grow your own food. Don't grow your own food. You know what I'm saying? Moving to the cities and whatnot. So what you have now is we have everybody living in, you know, in you know, city areas and maybe suburbia or whatever. But regardless, you are very much dependent on stores, supermarkets, and the like in order to get the supplies that you need, right? So if you disrupt that supply chain, okay, and things aren't there, we got a little taste of this with COVID. You know what I'm saying? We got a little bit of a taste of that with that, right? But if you disrupt that over a period of time, like we were talking just a few days, man, and there was a run on the stores, people buying up all the toilet paper. I literally had to go on base, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily, I go on base, right? But and even when I got to the base, the shelves were close to being empty. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking a couple of days. But if you disrupt this over a period of time, now think about the situation that you're going to have in these major metropolitan areas. Right? Now you're going to have like crazy turmoil in the street. You're going to have people out here who don't have access to food, right? Don't have access to the things that they need to you know, to live and to survive, right? Crime is going to go up, right? You may even end up in a position where you have to declare martial law, right? And things can get that far out of hand in a very short amount of time. So this was, you know, the things that were going through my head. Like literally, bro, I went, in my mind, bro, I was thinking like, yo, this can get really, really bad. Now, shout out to Pete Buttigieg and, you know, whoever, you know, sat down with folks and they were able to squash this, right? And they were able to, you know, come to some type of a consensus, right, to end this strike as quickly as they could. But this could have been the quote unquote October surprise that could have even, right, had canceled the election. Real talk.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to play your role today.
Yeah.
Because you already know what I was thinking. From an election standpoint, once again, does this help a Trump supporter or a Trump-backed campaign to get him over the hump, right? When you started talking about we don't manufacture a lot of goods, which he already was, that was like one of his biggest like running points, right? His first election. This election, I don't know what the hell he's running on, but anyway, the first election was definitely about keeping jobs in America, manufacturing our own goods, separating from countries like China, Korea, whoever else that had huge manufacturing centers that shipped products back to the U.S. That was a big part of his campaign, a big reason why a lot of people started supporting him. It was like, we need to have more auto manufacturers here in the U.S. We need to have this. We need to have that. Component goods. That was something a lot of people didn't even talk about. You started talking about the magnesium, the gold that goes in your cell phone, those little input goods. He was like, we're going to bring all that back to the U.S. The U.S. is rich in a lot of those resources, but we don't have the resources to mine them, build them, whatever the case may be. That was a big part of his campaign, the first run. So if there's people like myself that have a curse of history and can say, I can go back and remember that, what happens now?
Yeah.
Do they say that proves his case? Does that prove a case against a Kamala?
Playing devil's advocate, like to your point, right? It doesn't hurt it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we did give a lot of tax incentives, right, to companies to move, you know, to move a lot of jobs offshore, right? And to take advantage of lower labor costs and things like that in outside countries and things like that. There was a lot of that took place.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. You can't pretend that didn't take place. Right? So again, I don't know if that was all on you know, all on Democrats or what have you. I believe that Reagan had something, not Reagan, the
Clinton.
Yeah, well, Clinton and Bush.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They helped. Yeah. They helped that along. You know, again, I mean, you got to really get into the history of it, everybody's economic policy, but that wasn't all on one party or the other, right?
No.
So at the end of the day, you know, that's something to be looked at, to be honest with you. But you know, yeah, I don't think that hurts, bro. You know, to be honest with you. But you know, we have to see about that. But you bring up something else now when you said that, man. Could we talk just a little bit about the VP debate?
Oh yeah, I was on, that was on my mind, man. It was on my mind, yeah.
So what were your thoughts about that?
Okay, so I was very surprised by Mr. Vance, and the reason why is because I did not think he would be so tame in the conversation. He was much more subdued than he has been in national interviews and when he's traveling to different cities. He didn't say all these outrageous things like he usually says. He told a heartfelt story about a young lady that needed an abortion, and he backed that whole situation. I was just like, this don't sound like the same cat.
Who was that man?
I was like, this don't sound like the same person, right? And I think it kind of probably threw walls off a little bit. I felt like he was ready for a fight. Yeah. He was ready to battle this dude from top to bottom. And it seemed like he was a little confused. He was like, wait, he was probably sitting there like a lot of us that pay attention to what's going on. Yeah. And I think he felt like, what the hell? Who is this dude?
Yeah, exactly.
You could see it in his face. When he was taking all them notes, Walls was taking notes. I was like, this is not the same Vance he expected to see today.
Yeah, they got a copy of his notes afterwards. He was writing, what the hell is happening right now? So basically, shout out to Tapper Nash, man. We had a VP debate watch party here at Tapper Nash, man. That was very, very cool. Shout out to Dr. Robert Bush, our very own Dr. Robert Bush, and our very own
National Action Network
from the National Action Network, and also Jeff Jazz Jones from CORE, who hosted that evening. We had some very distinguished guests who were here that night, including, your family member or your brother-in-law who was here as well. I wasn't supposed to put that out there like that, but Stephen Horsford, Congressman Stephen Horsford, who is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, he was here as well, and a bunch of other, very, very high dignitaries who were here as well. Good. Yeah, and it was a very, very, good representation, I think, of both sides, I would say, and it was great because, the history of the United States that most of us didn't get to participate in, the historically marginalized group that we didn't really, but the history really was that people got together in smoke-filled rooms and they discussed policy. You know what I'm saying? And they hashed shit out, with cigars, and they talked about things. And so it kind of put me back into that mindset, you know what I'm saying? So we're smoke-filled room, you know what I'm saying? Everybody didn't have the same outlook, but people were able to have civil discussion, you know what I'm saying, and, come to consensus on some things and agree to disagree on other things, right? And that's literally the way that it should go down, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? We don't all have to see things the same way, but we should all take a stand on the things that we believe in. But I say all that to say this, man. I sat right over there, and as the debate began, I just remember thinking to myself, this dude is good. Like, J.D. Vance, man, okay, he is a Yale-trained attorney, a lifelong debater, and I'm sitting there like, this dude is a chameleon. He came out, and I was impressed with his skill at the debate, to be perfectly honest with you, man, because he did something that nobody was anticipating. Like to your point, right? He has spent the entire campaign up until this point, right, trying to convince everybody that the sky was purple. Yeah. Feel me? And I feel like, that Waltz had prepared for him to get on stage and say that the sky was purple. So he comes up there and he was ready. And then Vance got on stage and said, well, I just want to begin by saying that the sky is blue. and, you know what I'm saying? And when he did that, Waltz was like, well, damn, it is blue. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like now what do I do? So it was kind of crazy. And he sat there and he complimented him. And he tried to build this old boy camaraderie with him. You know what I'm saying? While on stage. And I do believe that Waltz was really shook and didn't know what to do for the longest time. I'm so sorry to hear that your son had to go through that. And boom, 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 and blase, blase. And Waltz was just like, it wasn't until the end, when they got to the question about January 6th, that something went off. And Waltz was like, well, up until now, you know what I'm saying? I almost agree with almost everything he said, but now on this point right here, and then he asked that question that ended up being like I feel the turning point, for that particular debate. But for me, it was largely, kind of boring. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, it was largely kind of boring. But as far as debates go, it was, there were decent arguments on both sides. But I kept waiting for Waltz. He blew so many opportunities. You know what I'm saying? He blew so many opportunities because he didn't bring things up that he had in his back pocket. He never brought up the whole, cats and dogs things. You know what I'm saying? He never brought up the cat lady thing. There were so many things that he could have. And like I'm saying, he's sitting there and they're asking him a question about, for example, right? They asked him a question about, well, why did you say that you was in Tiananmen Square? And he sat there and he stumbled over this thing. And I'm sitting there like, dude, that was like in 1980. Half the people in the audience don't even know what they're talking about. Why are you stumbling over this? Just say L. Yeah, I made a mistake. It was a long time ago. But he's sitting up there trying to explain it. I'm like, yeah, that was a long time ago. Ask this dude why he was lying to you last week. Like, stop it. You feel me?
You tell me something that happened over 40 years
Thank
ago.
you.
Right?
Thank
Like, I'm trying to explain to other people in my family what Tiananmen Square, why so is important, and they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, right?
Exactly.
I'm like, that was something even I had to read, right? You know, not
Yeah.
to age you, but I was like, it was something I had to even like read and learn up about, but I read about it, learned on the situation, what happened. I'm like, it's a government killing their own people, and you said you was there. Okay, how does that relate to what's going on today? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's a mute point.
Exactly.
If you weren't there, you weren't there. Just move on.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Is that the best you can come up with? You know what I'm saying?
But he gave a whole. I can't even call it a political answer. He gave an answer that you would expect somebody in court to give or something. But it was like, well, let me explain this. When I was in education and blah blah blah, I said when he started going down that path, I said, "Oh my God,
I'm like,
this dude just
come on, man, stop it!
Just say you weren't there."
Tiananmen Square, like you're explaining Tiananmen Square, bro. Like, let it go. Like,
let it go. We got more recent history to be concerned about. Talk about gun violence in schools. Talk about the gun violence that we've had across the country. Right, the young man that was a Trump supporter that went walking down the street with a rifle, shooting people. Like, come on, that's more recent history.
Exactly.
I was like, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Why are people trying to assassinate the former president?
Right.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, I felt like he blew a lot of opportunities, and you know, and the funniest part for me was, you know, again, I don't want to take all the talking points away from you. I'm sure you got some things too, but
nah, you hit it on the head, bro. You hit it on the head.
But when no boy said, I thought we wasn't doing any fact checks.
Yeah,
that mess, bro. I fell out laughing on that.
I do have to credit the two ladies that were handling the debate. They did the
moderators.
Yes, the moderators. They did an excellent job. They did a good job of keeping them on point, keeping them on time. We've had several debates that have happened in recent history where they don't start on time, they don't finish a topic, they don't get on to enough topics for the people to hear. There were so many topics in that one debate, in that conversation, that we could go back to. Shoot, it was like they gave us plenty of information, right? To go back, and like you said, you could really see like Vance is an experienced orator.
Oh man,
like this dude was on his game.
He was on his
game,
and
I was like, they just made Walls look that much worse. Saying that he was so much on his game, on his point. We talked about it in the last episode, right? It seemed like Trump was trying to separate himself from Vance. Maybe this is what makes him reconnect and say, "Hey, I'm taking him everywhere I go. Every city I'm in, he coming with me."
At the end of the day, like, you know, before the debate began, right, they were looking at like, I guess you would call it like likability ratings and stuff like that, right? And Vance had the lowest in the history of any VP candidate, right? And Waltz was pretty high, right? I think, you know, and again, this is just my own you know, suspicion, that Vance studied that and he noticed that, and he came in there with the intent to out-Waltz Waltz, and that's basically what he did. He was the nice guy.
But how much did we hear from Waltz prior to this?
Not much.
And that, that's part of the fact that Kamala just stepped in, right, and she had to pick a VP candidate and all that. That's a part of it. But at the same time, like, we haven't heard much from him. Vance has had at least 9 to 10 months to be on the scene and come out.
No, Vance has had actually years. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about it, man. This dude has gone from, you know, Donald Trump is America's Hitler, you know what I'm saying, to just 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago, he said, you know, Donald Trump has failed the American people. You know what I'm saying? When you know, when the election was lost, he said Donald Trump failed the American people. And all this, to now he's his greatest champion. So again, like I said, when you can vacillate that far in such a short amount of time, but yet you want to ask me about why I said that I was in, you know, Tiananmen Square in China, you know, 40 years ago. You know, there's far more recent history on the other side of this debate that we can get into.
And I'm thinking just from the VP candidate standpoint, because at that time Vance wasn't selected as the VP candidate. But you're right. He's been saying some wild shit for a long
time, bro.
He was like that dude from Florida, Gantz. And, you know, he was kind of on that whole run. Then Gantz got caught up in some minor Florida stuff and got it situated with that. But anyway.
And another thing he was very skilled at, right, was placing a lot of blame on Kamala Harris, which Waltz failed to shut down and nip in the bud. He kept calling it the Harris administration.
And it wasn't.
You know, the Harris administration. Now, neither one of those guys that was doing the debate that night, right? You notice that neither one of them could stand up there and say what their day one agenda was.
Right.
Because they got no day one agenda.
Yeah.
There is none. You're vice president. Your day one agenda is to do whatever the hell the president tells you to do.
Correct.
See what I'm saying? And that was Kamala's role as VP.
If anything, the worldwide initiative, right?
Yeah.
What is going to be your initiative? Creating better networks across the world, right? What are you going to do in the country of Africa? And that spans from the north to the south,
Exactly.
you know, because it's very dynamic from the north to the south. What are you going to do with countries like Brazil, Venezuela, that have all this oil and resources? Like, what are you going to do from a worldwide initiative? Don't just talk about, you know, I'm going to come in with a day one. You don't, like you
don't
said.
have a day one.
But you know what your job is? To get the hell out the country from time to time and make some of those connections. Because sometimes the president can't do it. You have to be an extension of him or him or her. And how you are going to serve as a real extension of them is what's important, right?
Exactly.
Not what I'm going to do myself. Because if you go rogue, what the hell VP goes rogue? You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly. Exactly, bro. But like I said, man, you know what I'm saying? It was very interesting.
Yeah, it was funny, though.
It was fun, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, bro, it's crazy. I want to see where we go from here. What we got, like 30 days or something left, man? Or
40 days, man.
40 days?
So election, well, early voting starts soon, but 40 days to actual election.
So we'll see where we end up at, bro. You know what I mean? But that's it, bro.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, I love this, man. Like I said, we can sit down and have these discussions, man. Hopefully, man, people are riding with us, you know what I'm saying, and doing what we do. I like the idea that we're going to continue, you know, to continue to do this, man, on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
We're not going to beat y'all over the head with too much, man. We try to keep it a little bit lighter and stuff, man. But, you know, there's a lot that's going on out there, man. It's kind of crazy right now, man. You know, when you look at, you know, where we are right now and where we're going, or, you know, the potential. So, you know, and again, I talk to a lot of people, man. A lot of people come to me and they make a lot of sense on both sides of this argument, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? You just made a good argument when you was talking about, you know, the longshoremen in the trade goods and stuff like that, right? So there's some things, man, that we got to look at. But at the end of the day, man, I have to look at it from the perspective of, you know, where I sit, you know, as a black man in this country.
We talked about it before, right? Yeah, I mean, not to cut you off, but like we talked about before, man, we all got to have our own perspectives, right? And at the end of the day, where I'm at in life, where you're at in life, is always going to be different.
Yeah.
You should vote according to where you are in life. Vote for your local elections. Vote for even a presidential candidate based on where you are in your life and what your values, goals, perspectives are. Don't do it based on a puff of minute and what Mick and the banker said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go out there and make your own decisions. Hopefully, we just keep you informed and keep you aware and say you're going to do what we keep saying all the time. Do your own research.
Yes.
Do your own research. Things are edited. Things are redacted. Things come out that they want you to see, that they want you to actually hear. Try to be in the moment as much as you can. Try to interact with as much as you can. They are traveling city to city.
Yes.
Nevada is a battleground state. Us here being in Nevada, we only got so many electoral votes, so they do everything they can to get them little several votes. So I was like, we always get an opportunity to interact with them, go see them. You had a chance to go to one of the events and things of that nature, but go see them in person before all that stuff gets redacted and edited and they put out the YouTube video or what they're going to put in the media or what have you.
Exactly.
Like, if you have an opportunity, read what they write. Read what they write. Writing is permanent. They can't take that away. So read what they write, read what's going on, try to interact with them on a personal level. That's the best way to get the information nowadays, because social media is a trick. I don't even want to get it. We could go on a whole nother tangent about how they're trying to manipulate people through social media right now.
Exactly.
We already see the commercial. You get 2 Vance commercials, you get 2 Trump commercials, then you get 2 Kamala commercials. It'll be right back to back to back behind each other. I'm trying to watch football.
Exactly.
I don't want to see this.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, bro, what do you say we go ahead and shut this one down?
Man, beautiful, beautiful, man.
Move on to the next one, man. So in case you guys did not know, man, like I said before, all right, we're putting the full episodes up on YouTube. All right, every YouTube on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Pacific. All right, 12 noon on the East Coast, man. You'll be seeing the new podcast get premiered up there on YouTube, and then on Spotify and the other podcast platforms, it'll be at 5 a.m. on the West Coast. So that's like 8 a.m. on the East Coast on, what did I say, Tuesday morning. It was a Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday mornings. Okay. So yeah, so you'll be seeing it up there on Tuesday mornings. All right. Good. So so y'all continue to follow that, man. That's going to be the regular schedule going forward. That's what we're shooting for. You know what I'm saying? So y'all just ride with us, man. That's what it is. Yeah. Like I said, we try to put out more content because we got some big events coming up in Vegas. It's going to be a crazy. Talk about the first big event coming up. You probably know better than I do. Which one is first? First one is Big Smoke. Okay, Big Smoke is November. Is in November. But throughout the month of November, so we got Tap, right? Tap got their own special event coming up the week of Big Smoke. While everybody's in town, we'll be at Tap hanging out as well. Yeah, so this is one of the host venues for Big Smoke. Absolutely. If you coming to town for Big Smoke, you gotta hit Tap. Gotta hit it. Especially because everybody's gonna flood 8. Everybody's gonna flood 8 Lounge. No knock to 8 Lounge. Right. Beautiful spot, beautiful venue, but it's gonna be flooded. Also, even though we are in Tap, and Tap is a beautiful venue. Also, man, we got Chocolate City right up the street. That's true. Chocolate City is going to be hosting some events during the week of Big Smoke as well. Got to support the whole community around the cigar industry, right? Yeah. Shout out to my guy Raj at the warehouse. Yeah. I know Raj is going to be doing some stuff over at the warehouse, having some vendors over there actually helping pick cigars and things of that nature. So yeah, it's going to be a lot going on the week of Big Smoke. Then we got the golf event, right? Golf event. We got the golf tournament coming up with Tap and Nash. That's on October 31st, I believe. It's before November. So we got the golf tournament, then we got Big Smoke. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be flooded in Vegas. It's always a reason to come to Vegas. But shoot, we sitting here in 109 degrees in October. Bro. I don't want to brag. But it's 109. I got kids come out to go swimming. Some of us waiting for some cool weather right now. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. You know. So all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and do the sign off. Like I said, those are the hosts of events that's coming up. Yes. But like we said, man, keep showing us the love. We got to get you over on YouTube, like Mick said. Yeah. That's the library of where we got everything listed, right? You can go there, check us out from 4 or 5 years ago, right? Absolutely. Check out a Puff a Minute, see what we was doing from the backyard studio to now at the host studio at Tap and Nash. Yes. But check all that info out as well. Make sure to take that love over to Instagram. Keep sharing, comment, doing all the stuff you do there. And like Mick said, Spotify is a big deal. Yeah. Spotify is a big deal for us. It's a big deal for you all to stay engaged with us. It's a way to listen in your car, listen while you're at the gym, you're on the walk. I know I was listening on the walk around the neighborhood. Me and the wife was walking. I had to catch my own episode, right? See what I sound like. You know what I'm saying? But the banker, Mick, we trying to do everything we can to put out more content for you all and stay relevant, right? Stay relevant at the same time. But we definitely appreciate you, love you. It's another one, man. That's it, bro. That's another one, y'all, family. Again, y'all, thanks for joining us, man. Continue to follow us, like, share. All right, because again, we need y'all, man. All right, we're gonna take this thing to a whole nother level. If you're in Las Vegas, man, again, every Saturday night you can find your man Cigar, Mick, and Tap and Nash, man. So that's when we had that Soulful Saturday. So make sure you come on down here, hug on your boy, man. Tell me that you watch me on the Puff a Minute, man. All right, and I'll see you on the next one. Until next time, y'all. We out of here. Peace. One more time, it's your man Cigar Mick. I'm the banker, and it's another Cigars and Conversation. We out, y'all. We see you on the next one. Peace.